Hello, 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 my beloved souls. Blessed be, blessed day. Welcome back. I'm Autumn, the Enlightened daughter. Welcome to Soul Sex. Um, so on today's episode, right? Um, I'm addressing, of course, the energy of intimacy. Like that has been a huge theme that I've seen going on, especially within the masculine collective. And I was reading something today. I want to say it was by Henry Nouwen, maybe. I feel like it was Henry Nouwen. Um, and something just stuck with me. He made a comment about the AIDS epidemic that had went on, in the States, and how he was working with all of these young people that were dying because they're looking for love, and that statement just really stuck with me because being a survivor of sexual assault, working with other survivors of sexual assaults, um, working in the sex industry, as a sex worker or whatever, we can be very quick to judge a person's, deeds and their acts and their desires and their kinks. And, we look at people as deviants and we hold them in judgment and condemnation, not understanding their story, not understanding their desires, not understanding what their actions are showing us and what is trying to be said through these actions, right? Like, I have a lot of gay friends, and a lot of them can be very sexually active, but it's not so much like they're just slutting themselves out, right? There's this underlying energy of I'm kind of being rejected, so I'm gonna hurt myself, or this is what it means to be gay. Like there's even like, well, if you're gay, then you have to like live a certain way and act a certain way and dress a certain way and behave a certain way, right? And so there's like, no matter what kind of structure you're situated in, there's like expectations and guidelines and kind of like rules and restrictions, and people just aren't being free to be themselves. People aren't being free to have these connections, to have these moments, you know. A lot of children I'm seeing now, younger ones that are being told that their desires for intimacy, for connection, for friendships, for, understanding, to be seen, to be heard, is like, oh, well, that means that you're gay, or you must. It's like, let's stop labeling everyone so quickly, right? Like, let's understand what this actually is. It's not about homosexuality. It's not about heterosexuality, or I don't know, all the other stuff that, might go in between that. It's literally about people desiring to feel seen, people desiring to be heard, people wanting to connect, having a safe space to feel our emotions, you know? People experience kind of like two different loves in when they're growing up in a healthy dynamic, right? If you happen to grow up in a two-parent household, you probably had your mother's love, which generally speaking, when we're talking in generalities, tends to be softer and unconditional and more nurturing, right? Whereas the father's love can be a little bit more restrictive, and it's kind of like something you need to earn. It's like, oh, you did good, good, I'm gonna pat you on the back. Oh, you listened to what I said, fantastic, I'm gonna reward you. It's kind of like a more of a trophy, diploma kind of like dynamic, whereas the mother love, again, in generalities, tends to be more like nurturing, accepting, and it's like you you like it, I love it, like that kind of energy, right? So if you're coming from that space and that understanding, then you're you have a healthier viewpoint on your emotional intelligence and what it is that you need and desire, right? And so you'll be more likely to find a healthier, harmonious relationship with someone that can give you kind of that balance, right? Where you can be vulnerable, be seen, be heard, but there's also kind of like a checks and balances things, right? We have boundaries that we're setting. So seeking to be seen, seeking to be heard, seeking to be felt, seeking to be loved, seeking to have a connection, seeking to, be able to communicate honestly and openly, um, are desires of intimacy, right? Like that's what's going on, and I just keep saying, and I keep bringing it up to you guys because it is so apparent to me, and I don't care, this 3D world is really cute, and people put on a great face. I am watching grown men throw tantrums and act like petulant children, and I think it's very amusing, but also very saddening. Like I try not to let anything I try not to really take anything personally because I see things for what it is, right? I see that your anger and your frustration and your childishness and your condemnation and your judgment and your criticism and your doubt are all reflections of like your own internal wars and your own projections, your own, feelings of lack of powerlessness and, your need for control. Like I get that, so I see that in people and I'm like, oh, okay, that's sad. Like I really try to not to minimize what people are going through, but I look at things and I'm like, oh, poor baby, right? Like I look at it like, wow, that kid is really acting out, or they're really throwing a tantrum, or they need a hug, and I say to people often like, oh, do you need a hug? And I think people think that I'm being sarcastic, but I'm being very honest, and I ask people if they need a hug because so many people need a hug. They need that connection. They need to be felt, and they just want to be loved. People just want to be loved. I don't care how you showing your ass right now. I don't care how tough you think you are. I don't give a fuck how many cool clothes or how expensive your outfit is, or how many bitches you got, or how many niggas is playing on your phone. At the end of the day, you are looking for love. And most of you are seeking it externally, which is why you are still thirsty, right? Which is why you're still searching and searching and searching, right? Like you have the love of the divine here as living water. It will quench any thirst that you could possibly have. And you're rejecting it and walking away from it because you don't think that you deserve it, because you don't think that you're worthy of it, or because you don't think that it's for you, right? God loves everybody but me. God will perform miracles for everyone but me. I don't deserve, to be loved because, obviously I don't deserve to be loved. My mom didn't love me. My dad didn't love me. I was sexually assaulted by my fucking father. My mom used to beat the shit out of me. Dad's an alcoholic. My mom's a fucking crackhead. Um, my teachers abused me. My neighbor used to abuse me. My boyfriend beat me up. My girlfriends always cheat on me. Like there's all these different things that play out in our life that start to get added to us, and we start to feel like we're not worthy, that we're not deserving because of these disgusting things that are going on in our world, right? And then, but we forget to look for the grace. We forget to see this for the truth of what it is. This is not who I am. These are things that are happening around me, and I need to do some shifting. I need to shake things up. I need to change something in my life because this is not okay. This is not okay. I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not with this. I don't accept this. This is not who I am, right? I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be heard. I deserve to feel valued and respected. You know, there's I know, and I think I'm seeing it more now just because I have children that are becoming teenagers, but my son is not really he's not into girls yet. He doesn't, the whole sexual thing, like he's just like, why are y'all always talking about that? Like with his friends and stuff, like it just irritates him, right? So I think it cracks me up because I'm like, you're not always gonna feel like that, but right now I will embrace that innocence, but it's just like the push and the pressure to be something or to choose something when that is not your natural desire, right? Like he's not even interested, but yet every day it's like you don't got a girlfriend, you don't get this, you're not trying to get this, like, and he's just like, I'm trying to go to school, play Roblox, like, y'all are doing too much. So there's a pressure that comes to us from our peers, from society, about what we're supposed to be liking, what we're supposed to be doing, how that's going to play out in the world, if your likes or dislikes are normal or not normal, because then people are judging you for that. You know what I'm saying? I've had many clients over the years, that have considered having, operations and changing their genders and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, I try to always bring it back to, well, why do you want to mutilate your body? And I think sometimes people don't look at it like that, but it's like, no, you're mutilating your body. Like you're telling your body, I don't love you. I'm rejecting you. You're not good enough for me. I need to do something else. when at the end of the day, that's a conversation that you need to be having internally, right? It's not the external part of you that's not in alignment with who you and what you are, right? Yeah, maybe you want to change your hair color or throw on some makeup or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about internally not loving yourself and thinking that if you mutilate your body that that is going to make you love yourself, right? Like that's a very different conversation to have. And most of those people, who have opted out of it, at the end of the day had to have some, you know, they do deep inner work in learning to love themselves in whatever form they're in, right? I love myself if I have short hair or long hair. I'm going to love myself, if I have makeup on, if I don't have makeup on, because at the end of the day, it doesn't change who I am character wise, right? I can change the outside world, right? We can shape shift and throw on all types of different outfits and masks and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, who you are as a core is what matters the most. And so when I see that you're trying to mutilate yourself, then I look at your core and I go, what about your core don't you love? Why don't you love yourself right now? Right? Why do you want to harm yourself? And how is that going to change anything? Especially when we get to the point of you having this major, major surgery done, removing huge parts of who you are as a human being, right? Whether that's, you know, mutilating your genitals or whatever, you look at it, and then having to live a life for a lot of them because then you aren't necessarily honest with the people that you're meeting about who you were before these operations, right? And so then that's a whole nother thing. And that's why I get a lot of my clients have been very depressed over the years is because of that. It's because they have the surgery and they love how they look externally, but now they're living a lie and now they're in these situations where they're being deceptive right up jump, right? I very far few in between do I find people that are upfront like, yo, I look amazing like this, but I was born a man. Or I look amazing like this, but I was born a woman. I They're like, no, I want to get to know the person first, let them get to know me, but you're not letting them get to know you. You're lying, right? And we're doing all of that, coming back to what? Because you want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want to be felt. And you think that if you do these things, that you're going to be loved, right? It keeps going back to the same conversation. We all want to be loved, even when we're talking about, changing your gender, or we're talking about the sexual choices that you're making, even in your kinks, even in your sexual desires, and pleasures and what turns you on and what doesn't. Like there is a lot of messages there. There's a lot of messages there. There's a lot of healing, like when we're doing like back shots or doggy style or, stuff like that, there's a lot of clearing going on, especially in a female of, no, I'm just gonna say female because if you're having anal sex too, this would also work. But there's a lot of healing and clearing going on within the root chakra and within the sacral chakra, right? Um, and sometimes those that like things a little bit rougher, right? And at times that can be a little rougher because there might be some like real bit like energy blocks that are there that we just kind of need help like pushing out, right? And so stop being so quick to judge, your sexual desires or your kinks. Like maybe you're just doing some energy work. Um, and then there's also just setting really healthy boundaries for yourself during these times. Like again, are you doing these things because this is what you want to do, or are you doing it because you're seeking like a deeper connection with someone and you feel like I have to do these things in order to get the desires that I want, right? So you're looking for intimacy, you're looking for connection, you're looking for, love, and then you're laying down and expecting to receive it in these very unhealthy or unfulfilling connections, right? It boggles my mind the amount of people that I know that can get down and dirty with a person and can't have a conversation with them. Like I'm like, how were their genitals in your mouth and you can't even ask them like what's up, where do you live, what's happening, are you married? Like it's odd to me. It's odd to me. Um and people are uncomfortable with conversations. So how did you get to the sexual part if you couldn't even talk to one another? You know what I mean? Like it's very weird to me. And I get it. I get it, and I get the person that has sex with you and then all of a sudden they're in love, because they are seeking, thirsty, dying for love and affection and attention. And so sometimes we will create it, out of whatever is available to us right now. Hold on, guys. I just got. I'm gonna have to lower my curtain. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's better. So, in your kinks, in your desires, you're gonna see we how many of you have been in a really unhealthy relationship with someone, but you stayed because they were giving you kind of what you were looking for, right? They were giving you some type of attention, more than likely it was sexual attention, or you get a quick text message here or there, and you kind of feel important, or they check in on you during your day, but they don't really care. They don't really fulfill your needs. Like we're we're taking people and we're forcing them to fit into these molds of what we want and desire and need in our life, right? And so, and I've seen this a lot, especially in doing twin flame work and soul work with soulmates and stuff like that. It's like people are so desperate for love and connection and intimacy that they're seeing these distorted, dysfunctional human beings, and they're like, oh, they have the one quality that I like. They're perfect. It's enough, right? I'll take the one because it's better than having nothing because I just need something right now. I just need something, right? And so we need to get out of that energy of I need something, anything that I'll take whatever is offered to me. No, 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 no. You can receive intimacy, you can receive connection, you can receive communication, you can be seen and felt and heard without having an unhealthy sexual connection, an unhealthy sexual relationship, right? Intimacy can be gifted to you through friends, through family, through coworkers, right? I I worked in restaurants for like over 20 years. You'd always have like a work husband, but it's like someone that like, or a work wife, someone that I'm talking to every day. A lot of times you're spending more time with your freaking coworkers than you are with your fucking spouse because you're there, at least in the restaurant business, we were there like 50, 60 hours a week. So I spent a lot of time with those people, right? And most of which we had the same schedule. So these are people that I'm intimate with, I'm having conversations with, I'm connecting with, I'm having a hard time. I can be vulnerable with, I can tell about my day, I can pour into. I don't have to fuck them in order for these things to happen, right? It does not have to go that far. And a lot of people are in situationships right now because they are looking for intimacy and confusing it with sexual desire. And those are two different conversations. Those are two different conversations. Yes, sex and intimacy can meld and can be great together, just like sex and love can meld and can be great together, but they are not synonymous. They're not the same thing. I have a very deliciously close, intimate relationship with my children. I'm not fucking my kids. That's weirdo shit, right? Got my girlfriend. I was just at her house, spent the day with her yesterday, just laughing and connecting. And we sit next to each other and we hug. And it's just, you're beautiful and I love you. And I'm pouring into her and she's pouring into me. We have a really close, great relationship. I can be vulnerable. I can have a conversation. I can share my goals. I can share my dreams. I can ask some questions. I can be inspired. I can be encouraged. I can be loved and not fuck her. My homeboy, right? In town, super amazing. Talking about his wife, talking about his kids, spiritual growth, his family. They're going through a lot of, shifts and, all this stuff. And he was here, he was in town for a few days, and we're here and we're having dinner, we're talking for hours, just connecting and talking. Not fucking him, because that's my boy. Intimacy, connection. I can sit next to you, I can hug you, I can hold your hand and love you and not have sex with you. And so many people are out there right now doing the damn thing just because they need connection. If more people got hugged, there'd probably be less STDs. And I'm not even being a smartass when I say that. I really mean that. If more people received hugs, there'd probably be less STDs because people are not necessarily looking for sex. Most people are looking for intimacy. Now, I'm not saying that we can't want to get our groove on because I am really great at fucking and I love it. Like, sex is one of my love languages. I love getting dick down. That's my shit. I'm with it. It's why I do sex classes. This is why I became a sex coach. Like, it's one of the things that I'm really fucking great at. I'm great at sex. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. I'm a great teacher too. I've helped so many couples like go from like awkwardness or to like what bitch, I'm multi-orgasmic right now, fucking bed soaking wet, like type of thing, you know what I mean? I've taken people that have been like so like prudish and I'm like, no, like let's explore, let's enjoy your sexual energies, right? Like you deserve to express yourself in this manner, but understand what we're looking towards, right? Are we trying to express ourselves more in a sexual manner, or are we looking for intimacy, right? Why are you, do you got 20 partners because that's just what you wanted to do and you was smelling yourself and you was like, you know what, I want one of those, two of those, a dash of that, three of those, and and this is what I want to do this week for me? Or are you perhaps just doing it because you desire intimacy, or you're doing it because maybe you were sexually assaulted and so you're gonna say yes because you're afraid that if you say no, it might happen again? That's real. That's real. So quick to judge people that have had a lot of sexual partners. You don't know why that person had a lot of sexual partners. Yeah, it could be that they were just like slutting themselves out or had a whole season or whatever. Or it could be for many people that I know, at least as being a sexual survivor, that when you have had that power taken from you, you're more apt to say yes than to say no because you don't know if that no is going to be a no in which it doesn't even matter what the fuck you said, right? So instead of being so quick to judge and to dismiss or to condemn somebody for their past or for their sexual history, you don't know the reason or the choices that they made or the desires or the needs that they have. So many people, probably you too, are thirsty for connection and intimacy, a space to talk, to be vulnerable, to be felt, to be heard. Um, it's it's enough already with the adult tantrums. It's enough already with not knowing how to communicate clearly. It's enough already. Like there needs to be a point where you take accountability for your life and like I need to be able to express myself. And if you're in a relationship or a situation where you cannot express yourself, where you cannot be honest, where you cannot be vulnerable, where you cannot be your authentic self, then that is not the space for you. That is not the space for you. Love, affection, attention, connection, depth, respect, honesty, vulnerability, right? That's a very different house to live in than one that's built on sand and function and chaos and dishonesty and disloyalty, right? How many of you can honestly express not only your feelings, but even your sexual desires to your partner without feeling ashamed? I would say 80% of my couples, that are having sexual intimacy issues is because they're just not expressing their desires to their partner. They think they should know, or they hope they should know, or they feel embarrassed about it, right? And I'm like, you have their genitals in your mouth. Why are you embarrassed to ask them to do something else or to not do something if you don't like it or if you're not comfortable with it, right? Don't force yourself to do something that you don't want to do because you desire intimacy and you feel like that's the only place you're going to get it. And I'm talking to those of you out there that like to bring in multiple partners because that's what your partner wants to do, but that's not necessarily what you want to do, right? If that's what you're down with or you like, I know a couple of my girls, you know what I mean? Like they're not gonna date a woman, but they don't mind having one in the bed every once in a while. Like that's for them. You know what I mean? And then I know a couple of females that have been coerced kind of into this because that's what their man wanted to do and they felt like they would lose him if they didn't do it. I.e., these females did not love themselves, did not respect themselves, and did not know their worth. Because if you're afraid that somebody is going to leave you because you don't want to do something that's going to make you feel uncomfortable or less than, then tell that nigga to kick rocks. Nigga, bitch, whoever it is, right? They gotta go. They gotta go. Like, why should I disrespect and dishonor myself because of this? And 9 times out of 10, the person feels away anyway. I hate oh, I'm grown, I think I'm ready for this menage shit, and then it goes down, and then, oh, all of a sudden the person that was pushing it catches feelings. Because guess what, homeboys? As much as y'all say y'all are down with the down and it's all good and blah 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 blah, and I know this from doing movies, I know this from being at swinger parties, I know this from being in relationships, I know this. Y'all get emotional, y'all get y'all feelings, and y'all get hurt, especially if you feel like the other person is digging her out better than you did, or if they're bigger. I always get the dudes that are like, yeah, I'm down with a menage, yeah, because you're thinking two females. One, can you even handle the one you're with? Because most of you can't. Y'all say you can, but it's really not that serious. And two, it goes both ways. So if you get two bitches, why she can't get two dudes? I'll wait. Right, emotional in your feelings, like I said. So anyway, um, is it intimacy that you want, or did you want that sexual experience? Again, nothing wrong with the sexual experience, right? But understand the differences. Understand what you're looking for. Are you looking for love? Are you looking for intimacy? Are you looking for great sex? Right? Be clear about that in which you desire and then go for it. Right? Be safe, be smart, always. Be safe, be smart, always, but understand the difference. Right? And for many of you, this conversation, and it's gonna go back to the same shit. It's intimacy that you're looking for. You want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want to be nurtured, you want to be cared for, you want to be loved. Right? That's a female and male thing. That's just not a female thing. And mainly I'm seeing it right now amongst the masculine energies, right? And I think it's because just women in general, or feminine energy in general, is just supported and expressing themselves that way. But now I'm seeing a big push with the masculine energy, right? So that's indicative to me that you guys are searching for more too, right? You want a little bit more. You're needing that maternal love and connection. And I'm not saying that like you guys all have mommy issues, although some of you definitely will. That's another conversation for another day. But more so the maternal love, the soft, gentle, accepting love that allows you to connect without judgment, without criticism. Just pours into you unconditionally, no matter how you're showing up in the world, right? Anyway, this tea is everything. I'm gonna go. Leave it there. I love you guys so much. I really do. Um, this came through, so I had to come through to come through. Anyway, I love you. God loves you. Angels surround you, and I will see you guys soon. Later, high vibe chat.